All right, let's get started. Today, I'm going to share with you exactly how to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as PPP-2. You're not going to want to miss this. So you heard right. I'm going to take you through step by step applying for the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, if you are wondering if this applies to you, if you might be eligible, then I have done another video all about that, and it's probably a good idea to watch that first, but I don't want to waste any of your time, so let's jump right into the application. Oh, and real quick, don't forget to like this video. It really helps me out, so thanks. So here's what the landing page looks like. If you did see my first video announcing PPP-2, you may have already pre-registered through Womply. I've partnered with them and I've gone through the process. I got to give them a thumbs up. They have customer support. You can call the phone number, email them, and somebody gets back to you and actually answers your questions. So if you'd like to use that link or you want to use another lender, this should be a very similar process. It doesn't really matter who you go with. Everyone just has a different portal. So this is what this one looks like. As you can see right here, it's going to ask you if you have a business with employees or if you work by yourself, essentially independent contractor, sole proprietor. That's how I'm going to be filling out this application, and if this applies to you, then great. You can still follow along if you're a C Corp or S Corp or a partnership. You'll just see that I won't be selecting those options, but you can do that. Here they're just asking for some very basic information, your first and last name, email address, and that should be the email address you're going to use throughout the application. Remember, this is a business loan, so here for the monthly income, they're asking for the business's monthly income. And here they're just asking if you did get a PPP loan the first time around, and if the answer is yes or no, answer it appropriately, and then you can click Start My Application. Okay, here is the homepage for the lender. This lender is going to be Cross River. Womply works with 4 different lenders. I'm going to leave them all down below in the description. Yours might look a little bit different, but essentially the SBA gave this long PDF form, and all the lenders, it doesn't matter who you pick, are creating their own portals. So they all ask the exact same questions and require the same documents. It's free to apply. Yours just might be in a slightly different order. So I'm going to guide you through. For example, down here, step 1 is just to tell them about your business. So if we go ahead and scroll down a little bit, the legal business name, if you are a sole proprietor, independent contractor, essentially if you're self-employed, you can go ahead and just put your first and last name. If you are an LLC or S Corp or C Corp, you had to go through a process to legally apply and do that. So you'll know if you have a different name for your business. Then they go ahead and ask for your business email, and this should be the email that you just put in on the initial landing page. It's going to be the email that you want to use throughout the process to be notified of when the money's deposited and whatnot. Also, go ahead and put your business phone number. This can be a home phone or cell phone. Again, it's just the phone that you use for business. I wanted to point out this box before we went any further. You are going to get a link in the next couple of pages where if you have to stop this process to go get some documents, you can click Find My Application and kind of go back and start right where you're at. But you just have to get past a few screens before they give you that link. Here for additional information, they're going to ask about your business entity, and this can throw a lot of people off because you can call yourself whatever you want, but the way you file your taxes is what they're asking for here. So there's that little I button you can press and they'll give you a little description, but essentially if you are a sole proprietorship, if you're going to file with a Schedule C, go ahead and pick sole proprietorship. Speaking of that tax form, in this next section, you can put your social security number if that's how you fill out the tax form, specifically that Schedule C. That's going to be where you show that profit and loss statement for this self-employed business of yours. If you have an EIN and that's what you use for your sole proprietorship, again, you applied for that, you know you have one, you can put that in instead. They also want to know the date the business started. And if you can't remember, just know that what they're wanting to make sure of is that this business started before February 15th, 2020. For a number of employees, that means including you. So if you don't pay anybody W-2 employment, go ahead and just put 1. And remember, all those 1099 or independent contractors you might pay for services, those are not your employees, so don't count them. And they also want to know the state where you do business. I'm here in New York, so I'm going to put New York. You go ahead and put the state where you do business. If you go ahead and scroll down a little bit, this part trips people up, and I'm just here to help. So they want to know your, essentially like your business code. They call that an NAICS. And that's because this time around, like if you're a restaurant or in the hospitality and a lodging sector, they're going to give you a little bit more money. But that doesn't apply to me. So you can go ahead and click this little link here. It's going to open up a new tab. And it lets you type in your business. And you might have to play around with it a little bit. For example, I put content creator and hit search. And the first thing that popped up was like metal mining. And that does not apply to me at all. But if I scroll down, the second result said internet publishing, broadcasting. And that fits me. So I'm going to go ahead and use this number here. It is 519130. You can copy and paste it on over. And again, hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Again, they just want to know how much to give you if you are that special group that's going to get a little bit more. And that kind of doesn't apply to most of us unless we know we're in the restaurant and hospitality business. Getting back to the application, after you fill in that NAICS code, they want to know a couple questions like, are you a franchise? Did you get a PPP loan before? Go ahead and answer those appropriately. I'm just going to put no for both because that will apply for some of you, and for others you did get one. What they're going to ask for is that PPP loan number. And you got to kind of go find that. It's on the original loan document that the lender sent you. It might take you some time to track it down, so we're not going to talk about that today. They also ask for your business address, and if you work from home, then that's your home address. They just want to know where you live, the address, city, state, and zip. It should auto-populate after you type in the address itself, like the street address. So just go ahead and put whatever's accurate. Of course, if you rent a business and you have office space, you can put that address down. Okay, moving right along, we're on step 2, okay? And you can kind of see how they spell it out for us at the top. Again, maybe this is feeling a little less overwhelming and kind of cruising along right here. So step 2 is going to be all about the owner of the business. You are probably a sole proprietor, independent contractor, you're your own boss, you're your only employee. So you're really just going to put in the information for you and say you own 100% of the business. Of course, again, if you have a special situation, you can see how they're going to ask you to add an owner and divide up the business based on percentages. But let's move along. Here they want to know the owner's legal first and last name. And if the owner will be the primary contact, of course, you're going to be the one that cares about your money the most. So go ahead and click yes. Here they're asking for that email address again. And now it's time to put in the social security number of the owner. That's going to be yours. So go ahead and put that. And then again, they ask for some personal information like, do you own 100% of the business? What's your birthday? And what's a good phone number to call you at? And stop right there. This next part is all optional. A lot of applications, like if you're watching this and you're going, hey, they asked me this at the end. That's kind of where they're supposed to ask it. So I don't know why it's right here, but it all says optional. This is demographic information. Just go ahead and skip it. Of course, if you want to fill it in, you can, but I'm going to leave it blank. Then they're going to ask for the owner's home address. And if it's the same as that business address, just check this box. It'll auto-populate. And again, if there's another owner, you can start adding that other owner's information. That probably doesn't apply. So let's just click next step. Now, if you see this screen and you get a little worried, you're going to have like a spinning box. And it's essentially verifying some databases to make sure that you are a registered business. And it might take like 2 minutes. Mine spun for like 45 seconds, but then I could breathe a sigh of relief because it took me to step 3. All right, for this next step, this is a questionnaire to determine if you're actually eligible. And I do want to point out one thing. Here's where they give you that link in case you need to get back into the application. I'll give you, for example, later on they're going to ask you to upload some documents, and we'll talk about that later. But if you need to go get those, this link is going to give you access to get back into the application. So go ahead and copy it or save it somewhere. Here's what the questionnaire looks like. You can see they actually, and I like this, they give you some direction. Literally, they say that you have to answer most of them no and one of them yes. And you got to be honest here, okay? And here's what they look like. I'll just try to summarize a little bit. They're basically saying that you're doing what you're supposed to do when applying for this, that your business is real, that you are the owner. They're going to ask about some specific types of laws, meaning if you have a felony or if you've gotten in trouble or work for some specific types of companies. So just go ahead and read through this. Number 6 on the questionnaire, though, does have to be yes. That is because it needs to know and verify that all of the employees, you are residents of the United States, and make sure that you check that box accurately. And this next question might apply to some of you. They do ask about the EIDL loan. If you did get one, they have some specific dates. So go ahead and check yes or no. And then they want to know about franchises and seasonal businesses. Again, check the box that's appropriate. For this application, I just put no to all 3, and I'm going to click next step. Okay, we're moving right along. Step number 4. Here's where they're going to ask you for some information about what you're going to use the loan for, and I'm going to talk to you about that. And then they're going to help you calculate the amount. Now, I'm going to leave a link down below to my correct loan amount PPP calculator. Again, it's free to sign up for, and I want you to have that number before you get to this step. For example, they have this little link, how to calculate loan amounts, and why worry about that calculation? Just get that number ahead of time. Also, go ahead and check the box that says payroll. As a self-employed individual, as a sole proprietor, the SBA has said that you can use the entire loan amount, the correct amount, as owner's compensation, which means paying yourself over the course of 10 weeks when you elect the 24-week covered period. And then if you do that, which is pretty simple to do, right, you should get the entire loan forgiven. So go ahead and check the box payroll. There is a list of other approved expenses, and I do have videos on that, so please just check through my channel. It literally says PPP expenses in the thumbnail of the video. Then they ask how you file your taxes. The correct answer is Schedule C if you're a sole proprietor, and if that's not an option, you can select Other. Moving along, they're going to look to help you calculate your average monthly payroll. I really wish that they would eliminate some of these questions because they've already asked what type of business entity you are. I'll give you a for example. You can just leave the part asking about 940 forms blank because it doesn't apply to you. You don't have any employees. When it asks about self-employment, meaning that Schedule C, that's where you're going to go to line 31 and plug in that number. Also, just leave blank if it asks about any other business entities, of course, unless you are a partnership. And again, here's where I wish some of this wasn't in the application and it's confusing. You can leave all of this blank, sections about vacation time and state and local taxes. This doesn't apply to help figure out your PPP loan amount, so just leave it blank and move on. And here we go. We've established an average monthly payroll using $100,000, which is the max that you can cap out at for one of these PPP loans. And if we divide that by 12, we get just over $8,000. So again, the maximum loan you could get, which is good for about 2.5 months, 10 weeks of average monthly payroll, is going to be just over $20,000. Now you need to figure out what your correct loan amount is based on your own Schedule C line 31, but you can verify that on my spreadsheet and hopefully it matches the number that you see here. Here they're going to ask for routing numbers and account numbers. Now, in my instructions on how to pay yourself, I am going to recommend opening a new bank account so that you have crystal clear documentation. But for the sake of these routing numbers and account numbers, you can put down whatever business account you currently have. They might ask you to upload some statements later on in the application process, and they want to see the routing number and the account number match those statements. Then once the money's deposited, we're going to move those funds into a new account so that there's no question that you have paid yourself properly. I'm recommending using SoFi Bank, and I'll leave a link down below, When I opened up my account, they gave me $50 free, and I think that offer's still around. Also, I've used CIT Bank in the past for the first round, and I really like their high interest savings builder account. So again, I'll leave a link down there if you're looking for a place to open up a brand new account once these PPP funds are deposited. Now stay with me here, we're almost done. This next part, step 5, is actually pretty simple. They just want you to confirm the business information and the owner information. If something's wrong, like a typo, you're gonna be able to edit it. I found one typo in like a year that I put in, so I clicked edit when I got to my information. They're going to let you verify and kind of look at what the payroll amount and the loan amount's going to be. They're going to ask about the owner again. Just make sure everything looks correct. Go ahead and check this box. It says that you're confirming that you have not applied for a PPP loan with another lender. Now, you are able to put in and submit multiple applications, but this specific lender is asking you to confirm that you haven't, essentially giving them like a week's time, about 7 days, and that's what they're going to show you later to gather your information, and as soon as the SBA is ready, just send it to them. And they just don't want to complicate things by having multiple applications sent in using your tax identification number. And then just go ahead and read through this information. This is a lot of that legal speak, but there is one thing I'll point out that I noticed. There's a little bit of a gray area. Typically, these SBA loans are supposed to have hard credit pulls, but the first time around, they were just like kind of pushing them through. But I'll tell you, some people still got denied for having poor credit. So you're checking a box here that's electronically signing off on everything, but they may actually pull a credit report this time around. I think some lenders will and other lenders won't. And I just want you to know that that may happen. It's supposed to happen, but it kind of didn't the first time around. We'll just see if it becomes something that does happen. And I'll let you know in a later video if more people are reporting that they are pulling credit. And here's that list of documents you're going to need to upload. It's in the next step. I'm just going to run through them. You're going to need a driver's license. They're going to ask for a front and back. You're going to need a voided check. And I'm going to give you a tip on how to get one if you don't have one. They're asking for a February 2020 bank statement, and that needs to be the bank statement for the routing number that you put in earlier. That's to verify that there was proof of business before that February 15th, 2020 date. And they're also going to ask for your Schedule C from 2019. Many of us won't have it from 2020 until taxes are filed, but you can submit either or. Here's a big list of businesses that are ineligible for the PPP loan. So again, you could read through those. I'm not going to get into them. If you have questions, you can get in touch with me. And finally, click I agree and confirm, and then submit e-sign. Congratulations, that's literally what it says. We're on basically the last step where they're going to ask you to upload some documents. Now, they're even acknowledging here that you may not have all those documents. It's going to take some time to get them or find them. So they're going to give you that link for your specific loan application where you can continue right where you left off. Of course, if you haven't saved it, save it now. Now, here's that same checklist again. And I'm a guy that likes to explain things in simple terms. So if for some reason you don't have a voided check, there's a little workaround. I mentioned that bank SoFi. They have all these different deals when you sign up. And one of them is for adding a direct deposit. So if you go into the app and you click direct deposit, it's going to generate a screenshot of exactly what you need for a void check. It is going to be a horizontal check with your name, address, account number, and routing number right down at the bottom. And you don't need to do anything with that direct deposit form except upload it as a voided check. It's pretty cool, right? Of course, if you have like old checks and you want to just write void on them and take a picture, that works too. But for those of you wondering like, what's a voided check? That's how you can either get one electronically or, just go use one of your checks. Okay, and I'm going to give you time to upload everything, but let's kind of move on. Once you're done, you're going to hit submit, and there is going to be a confirmation email sent from Cross River. And again, this was Cross River in conjunction with Womply. There is a support email here that you can reply to if you still have questions. And I really like that there is a continue application button sent in this email. So if you felt like, oh, I had to go back and find some things, you can take care of that as well. All right, congratulations. You just applied for PPP2. Hopefully you get approved and it becomes a forgivable loan. I just want to damper your expectations. This forgiveness process the first time around, though, has been delayed. The banks are kind of dragging their feet. The SBA is busy, as you know. So if you do get the money, it'll probably be like 10 months to a year before it all gets forgiven. Some lenders are definitely working faster than others. So just, kind of pump the brakes. If you have questions about your specific situation, you can get in touch with me on my website. I am available for private consultation calls. I also have a ton of resources there, videos, blog posts, podcasts, so check it out. Also, don't forget to like this video, and if you are new to the channel, please hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.